Welcome to Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston, PhD. Glenn has held his doctorate in psychology for more than 30 years and is also a former multi-million-dollar consultant to the big food industry and uses his experience to help you defeat your cravings. This show will help you to focus on dramatically reducing cravings and leave the diet mentality behind, so you can more easily and effortlessly achieve your health, fitness, and body composition goals. Please remember, no doctor-patient relationship is created via this show, and you are responsible for confirming any changes to your diet, health, or psychological routines with an appropriately licensed professional before implementing them. Now, before we get started, if you haven't yet downloaded the free smartphone app to access dozens of these recordings all in one place, as well as to avail yourself of a confidential community for support, motivation, and assistance, please visit the podcast link on defeatyourcravings.com as soon as possible. And now, here's your host, Dr. Glenn Livingston.
Hey, this is the very good Dr. Glenn Livingston at defeatyourcravings.com. I'm here with the nicest woman named Deborah, who you've heard from before, was working on her chocolate demon or her chocolate pig. I forget exactly what she calls it. And we wanted to do a little follow-up because she had a little problem, or maybe what you described as a big problem. And let's see if we can't get her some more solidity and motivation and kind of a boost to go forward. So Deborah, do I have this right? How are you?
I'm fine. Yes, you have that right. I actually did have a problem after the first flush of success working on a carnivore diet. I discovered that I could not follow the diet because I became very meat averse. So I switched to a no S diet, which is no sweets, no snacks, no seconds, except sometimes on special days or days that begin with S, which would be Saturday and Sunday. So my rule generally is the sometimes is Sunday, a one sweet and or snack, depending on whether that fits in with my day. It's not something that I have to do, but if I want to do it, it's okay. I also have the rule that if I'm at somebody else's home and they're serving me food, I will eat whatever they're serving. I don't say I have issues, except for chocolate. Chocolate, I would just say I'm not hungry for that. So what I discovered was that over Christmas, I had a planned break. It was just going to be Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And I had an accident with some pretty severe physical trauma.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I had some emotional issues with my sister, long-standing, we're twins. It goes all the way back. And the combination kind of set me back, and I just forgot everything. And my 2-day break turned into a 12-day break. But right after the first of the year, I got right back to it. And I've been glorious ever since because I started using some of the information that I was getting from not only our call from last time, which we talked about you'll never make it, you might as well quit now. But also, I picked up your workbook. I love my workbook, and I've been working through that. And I've really identified some of the major squeals from I call it my demon, but pig is okay too. But I found that there were certain things that kind of recurred all the time. And I'm very sensitive to them, and I've really worked hard to refute them, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job. I've lost a few pounds since we last talked, maybe about 5, which is pretty good for me.
Even with the holiday mistakes?
Oh, yeah. I'm on medication that makes it really hard to lose weight, but yes, it's surprising. You'll never believe this, Glenn, but if you don't eat all the time, you lose weight. It's very
Who
strange.
knew? Who
Who
knew?
knew? Who
Who
knew?
knew?
Yeah, so just cutting out snacks. I guess I didn't even realize how much I was snacking because just cutting out snacks alone made the weight start to drop off right away. I don't drink alcohol anyway, so that's never been a calorie for me, but the sweets thing, limiting that to one time a week is really key, and still avoiding chocolate and still avoiding diet soda.
Well, I have a whole bunch of questions, but tell me where you'd like help. How can I be of the most service?
Well, I just want to kind of check in with you about some of the things that the demon says to me and what I say back to them and see
Okay.
if you have anything to add. So First of all, as I mentioned, the demon adapts its bait, right? So chocolate and diet soda were off the plan, and suddenly cookies became the thing. So I find that if I eliminate whatever the thing is for a period of time, that it loses its allure.
Hmm.
But I have to go through that period. So that's
But
one thing.
by the way, I mean, that's often a good strategy. Just by the way, the demon will say that no matter what you regulate, it'll find something else to binge on, and it can have an endless life of symptom substitution. So it's not worth you doing this. In practice, I find that it takes 4 to 6 iterations and the pig starts to give up. There really isn't an endless list of things that it can binge on, unless you're really hyper specific. So if you say, I will never have cinnamon donuts again, and then you start going to blueberry donuts, it might be that you have to give up donuts for a while entirely. And so if you have that kind of a strategy, usually a half a dozen iterations and the pig starts to give up. That's what I found with most people anyway.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I have found to my shock, I mean, real genuine shock when you think about a lifetime of pursuing chocolate like it was the be all end all, that it has no appeal for me anymore. And I didn't think that could possibly ever happen. So I'm very with you on that.
How long did that take?
It just took a month
Yeah.
and I was gone
Was chocolate a daily habit before?
daily. When I was younger, I was eating a pound a day. I was very lucky to have a good metabolism and be pretty athletic. But yeah, I was a
But
lot of chocolate.
for very frequent habits, the extinction curve goes quicker. The reason for that is that cravings come in food cue slash craving pairs. And when you have an exposure to a cue, like you're on the beach and the salt air makes you want ice cream. And then you make a rule that says, I'm never going to have ice cream again, or I'm only going to have it on Saturdays at 10 o'clock. You wind up with what we call an extinction exposure. Now you go to the beach and you feel the warm air and you smell the salt in your skin or something, and you really have the craving, but you don't reward that craving. Well, that's an extinction exposure. And it turns out it takes like between 30 and 45 extinction exposures for the cravings to go away in response to that cue. There could be, and you shouldn't be surprised if this happens, there could be another cue that was much less frequently exposed. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe you get together with your girlfriends from high school once a year and you guys always had a big chocolate cake or something like that. And you'll probably find when you go back there that all of a sudden you have the craving. That doesn't mean that you failed at extinguishing your chocolate cravings. It means that you succeeded at extinguishing the beach and I'm mixing up chocolate and ice cream, but you get the point. You exceeded at extinguishing the beach, but you failed at extinguishing the reunion
Once a
with your,
year chocolate union.
yeah. So frequently troublesome food cues get extinguished a lot more quickly than infrequently troublesome food cues. But what that means is that when people are methodical about it, that the bulk of the problem is gone fairly quickly within a month or two.
I
And then,
never would have believed it.
yeah, because you're so used to the demon telling you that this is going to torture you forever. And
Forever.
and then you think, well, I can't take forever, so you binge, and then you've taught your brain that the craving worked. And so it reactivates it and it starts the extinction curve all over again. And you just go round and round and round. And it seems like it goes forever, but it really won't.
Yeah. Well, here's another one. Another one was you can't commit 100%. That's just a setup for guilt and shame.
Hmm.
And I said back, or I wrote back, boundaries aren't shame traps, they're freedom gates. I commit
Oh,
100% to starving the addiction.
look at
I,
you.
I think
Beautiful.
there's I think there's just a difference between something that you do that engenders shame and something that you do that gives you freedom. And I think these gates that I put in front of myself are actually freeing me so much that I'm eager to keep going, which I never have been before.
Deborah, that's a beautiful way to reframe it. That's a beautiful way to look at it. I'm very proud of you. Also, people don't really accomplish things without committing 100%. You can't commit 100% to monogamy, never sleeping with another woman. You don't tell a guy that as he's about to get married, right? Or
Right. It'll be 90%. I'm sure you understand.
I'll do my best. Don't
I'll
worry,
do
honey.
my best. Right. Yeah. Another one that got me was you're not losing weight fast enough.
Mhm.
And this is like, I had to kind of tell myself, look, the scale is a lagging indicator. It's not going to change right away. A doctor explained it to me one time. It's like there's a lot of healing that has to go on inside of your body, and weight won't necessarily be the first thing you see. So I have to keep telling myself that because I have that feeling that oh, this is so hard at first, especially when I got back on the program at the first of the year. So hard that I wanted to see a miraculous result for that hardness, but I had to tell myself that the non-scale wins, which is that I'm like, I've got better energy, my skin is extremely clear, I'm sleeping better, all the good things are happening, and the cravings are fading. They're going away. I'm getting more and more freedom every day. That's actually more important than the weight right now.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And as long as the doctor doesn't say it's an emergency that you lose 20 pounds by Friday because you have to have this operation or something, or, you
Nope,
know,
nope, nope.
I find most doctors are happy with direction more so than speed. When they see it coming down very slowly, they're just happy that it's generally going in that direction. And they'll just say, you got to keep going.
I used to hear that as discouragement when someone would say you have to keep going because I'd be like, "What? I've done so well.
Yeah.
I have to
Yeah.
keep going." But of course, I do have to keep going. And that's another thing that combination of the books, the workbook, and kind of writing things out every day in a journal has helped me really begin to be very honest with myself and not try to game myself the way that I used to, I'll do this today and on Tuesday I'll do the other thing, but that never happens. So I've stopped playing those games with myself, and I know that if I do not comply 100%, that I'm going to have to work even harder to get to the same place I already am, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So
Yes, it
that kind
does.
of keeps me on the track.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And then, other than that, the only other thing is sometimes a food craving will hit me and it just feels so incredibly overwhelming in the moment, like I can't possibly do this. And this is in regard to not snacking, not having anything in between breakfast and lunch, lunch and dinner, except for a protein shake. If I'm genuinely hungry, that means I've got like a metallic taste in my mouth and I'm really hungry. And not snacking is harder than giving up any specific food
Hmm.
because you're so used to taking care of something inside, internally, emotionally with food. And it doesn't have to be unhealthy, it could be anything. It's just the process of feeding myself, which has a psychological analog, right? You're actually feeding yourself, you're taking care of yourself. I'm used to doing that apparently all day long because it's really been hard to give up that
Well, it's really
impulse.
good you're having those intense cravings. That's really good because the only way to kill a craving is to have a craving. You're having an extinction exposure. Food cues can be internal as well as external. You probably have conditioned yourself that whenever you have a particular emotion or a particularly uncomfortable internal state, that it's time to go get a snack. You're teaching your brain and your body to extinguish that food cue also. That'll go away more quickly than you think, but you have to go through it. The only way out is through. You can tell yourself that there's times that feelings aren't facts. You make food decisions with your intellect, not with your emotions. That you spent a lifetime building this condition, and it makes sense that it feels incredibly urgent and it feels like you're going to die without having a snack. But the odds are overwhelming that you're not going to die if you don't have a snack, unless you're diabetic or,
Hypoglycemic.
yeah, I mean, listen to your doctor about those things. But the odds are really overwhelming that you're not going to die. I would sometimes just grab my stomach and say, let it burn. I don't have that rule anymore. But if for one reason or another I was not supposed to eat and my body was screaming out to eat, I would just grab my stomach, which is where I gain weight, and I'd say, let it burn, baby, let it burn.
Yeah, really. This is my body telling me it's going away. Yay!
Yeah. But are you feeling confidently on plan? It sounds like you are.
I'm feeling very confidently on plan, and I just wanted to mention that this mind-body connection kind of thing that I've been doing with Defeat Your Cravings has spilled over into a release of my chronic back pain.
Oh, wow.
That I was able to convince myself that my chronic back pain wasn't really there. That there was a psychogenic component that was very similar to what drives me to eat. And it drives me to maybe be a little bit of a victim or to be injured. And so I've been working with myself on that, and back pain disappeared. I feel kind of embarrassed about it, but I think that there's so much application of this method to so many things, not just the food, but the food, of course, is what we're here to talk about. So,
Well, rather than being embarrassed, I think you should feel proud that you're willing to face that as a possibility. I don't make any claims to be able to cure physical symptoms like that. It makes sense to me that the image that you had about yourself as, unable to move without pain would go along with, gee, we might as well binge then because we need the relief.
right, we're just sitting here reading, might as well eat, watching TV, might as well eat. And it's so the opposite of where I feel like I'm going, which is to be very active, somewhat athletic, out there. And I find myself moving in that direction a little bit more every day. It's very obvious to me. I think it's obvious to my husband too. He's like, wow, you've really scheduled a lot of time with other people. And I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling it.
Has your husband changed in any way since you've been doing all this?
Well, he's very diligent about his diet now. And yeah, he's 100% on it, really supportive. And, he got there first because he had a heart problem and they put him on Mounjaro. So he lost 50 pounds and whatnot. But he's doing other things besides just losing the weight to make himself feel better. And the two of us are doing it together, which is such a wonderful thing if you're married. To have your spouse supporting you is a big deal.
It's really a lovely thing.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah, very much so.
Wonderful. Well, okay. Is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't ask you, or anything that you wanted to share that you didn't get to share?
No, I just want to say again how valuable your books and your workbook have been in really genuinely changing my life. I'm very appreciative.
I'm very appreciative of you giving it your all and being willing to be vulnerable and share this with other people. So thank you so much, Deborah, and it's my honor. You're very welcome.
Thank you so much.
And that brings us to the end of today's broadcast of Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston. Now, if you'd like to find out more about the products and services Dr. Glenn offers to help you dramatically reduce your cravings and stop overeating in 90 days or less, please visit defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. That's defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. Thanks.